Right. I don't know why this one, come on. That's not on, is it? I guess we're on, but there's no one showing here. Just being. Is the projector turned on? It won't power on.
By the way, here's a crazy question. I want to flip that. Is this working off of battery or off of?
I was trying to see that.
Move that out of the way for a second.
Is there a switch for that?
There is, and I don't want to flip it without. Let's try it. Ready?
No, I've done that already. That
Hold
one.
this. What is this? Maybe, I don't know if this thing should be lit up or it isn't.
Is there another switch over here for it?
You know, you can say this little power panel. Oh, now, no. Not lit up.
No, it's a room.
Nope, not even, whatever it is we did, it turned on the little lights here.
Okay.
Look at that.
Try that power switch. That's good, the fan's running. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, then they're gonna come on here, right?
It should. At the very least, it should be functioning the button that says recording. There,
It is recording, we're recording.
it is, okay.
This Buster's got his. Or we'll call it, okay. So 15. Approval of agenda.
I'd like to add a new item.
Okay.
Do one of the new business, I guess. It's just to bring up the fact that at the state level, there is a proposed bill, that's 236 that would have an effect on local towns. I think we need to discuss it.
236.
Yes, it's to limit adjoining landowner participation. Cases to public, limited to public health and safety and traffic, and remove aesthetics criteria. And this is with respect to new gas and electric purchases, investments and facilities. So. I think it's of relevance to the house to be aware of it.
All right, so we'll bring that up under new business and call it state level.
That's okay,
Is it S236?
yeah. I have copies of it here, I'll pass it on.
Okay, okay. Did you grab one, Lisa?
I got it, yes.
Anyone else? Just one left. Okay, approval of the December minutes. We didn't have a January meeting. Some of the minutes go back to the 12th. Are there any changes necessary on the minutes? Approval of the minutes? Good. Okay. Eric and Buzz. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the wastewater plans, and where do we go from here? The last I've heard is that the select board has spoken to, at least in a set, has spoken to, Aaron from Ty and Bond. And they're needing more time with their ducks in a row, I guess. Did anyone read?
What may it be that they're putting together?
Hmm?
What is it they're
Well,
putting together? They need.
They're checking, last I gathered was they're checking to see what is approved by the state. And it's kind of still up in the air.
So is that about the 90% report out, or is this more about the?
It's more about where we're where they're circling back now. Because the Joe's Field's out of play. And I think they're maybe taking some of the information that we've kind of gathered into light. I think we need to pursue it along further.
So are they looking for other approved methods that would potentially apply to lands that they had previously dismissed?
I can't answer that, but I think that's one of the things they should be looking at. Seth asked for a meeting with them the last week or the week before. And they indicated that they needed more time. And last week, Seth sent out another email to them, and it's at the point where they're trying to gather information from the state and where they're at. As well. Move forward. There haven't been any committee meetings with them yet. I think it's just a matter of getting a letter from Ian Bond to the select board to see where they're going. So I mentioned to Seth that we should have our answer for them regardless of what they come up with. We need to figure out what we can do. Can we pull out of the contract? If we don't like their answer with what they can do for us, what do we do? Are we still obligated to pay them?
The money issues previously have not been a area of, prime concern of the planning commission. Technologies, yes, but
Right,
hey, that sounds like it's the select board.
right, that's where it's up to the select board to decide, but I mentioned to Seth, I said, just as a side note, what can the select, what is the select board gonna do if they come back with an answer they don't like?
Really good question.
Did not the select board already, give them another nice big chunk, or is that still on hold?
Well, I know they
Like
asked
another-
for it, and I think they
Another
got
30 or
it.
something?
Yeah, 34,000. 30-something thousand. To get to the 90%. What does the 90% mean now?
Good point. So it's curious about, what's the next milestone?
Hmm,
So are they using that for whatever they're doing, or is
yeah,
that on board?
How was it set, was it 30, 60, 90?
yeah,
And now they've got 90 approved.
no, they don't have.
That was,
They got money.
that's the.
They have the money, to push it to 90, but the project is kind of circled back to,
Under 30.
But we've approved giving them the money.
I believe so, yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
the grant, the
So they're.
study line, yeah.
Yeah, I know, so they're at 90%. I mean, I know they're way back here in terms of what they can come up with, but that was the problem that they're on.
Yeah.
So. And the contract's around 100,000, you said?
There's a little more, like, 120.
Yeah. So, they've gotten 90%, they've got 10, 12,000 outstanding.
It was a little over
Hopefully the verbiage for us is specific deliverable for what they've already been paid, so there's no.
Right,
It's not like we're gonna sue them because they didn't do anything. So,
yeah,
um,
maybe they're breathing a sigh of relief going, it's not come from another,
Yeah,
answer here.
I was talking this way, because I don't see where they can go with this, given what they do. Their type of work they do, and expertise. So my sense is, I'm not worried about them anymore. The issue is, can anything, and should anything be done, with the living systems? I don't see, I almost, the extent that I know anything about it, seems that we're all brought back that we're gonna try to go forward. Who gives that out about time? Given that situation.
Well, I'd like to consider the next few months that we continue our research. I invited Hannah to come in tonight, I didn't hear from her, she's not feeling well. And, to have her expertise to give us an information. And, if it means paying her a stipend to gather information, is that something we can do with our budget?
And so, yeah,
We'll
it should be.
have some,
I haven't been keeping track of what we spent, but I don't think we spent very much.
No, we haven't.
the last we spent was on the maps, wasn't
Yeah.
it? A year ago.
I mean, we tried to sneak in an extra 5,000 there, but we have trouble slinging 500.
Yeah,
It's my opinion that regardless of what Time Bond does, what we're doing relative to wastewater treatment stands on its own. And if it can look at some of the things that others have either dismissed or not carried very far in terms of being potential solutions to various parts of the problem, the greater the good for the entire region or the state, regardless of what it will do for Grafton. It'll be there if and when we choose to do something in Grafton. I'm particularly interested in the PFAS and perhaps other kinds of contaminants that might be present in wastewater, and how do you get rid of them?
yeah, that's something that, Hannah was finding out from Texas A&M, they're doing some research on, BFOAs being absorbed by some plant material. It'd be interesting to follow up on that topic. And,
It's actually a necessity, because what they were saying, even if you put a system in and you don't deal with that first, you're just moving your problem somewhere else.
yeah,
So that has to kind of be step one.
yeah,
And that was kind of being ignored a little bit.
and I think the state is neglecting Charlie Bonnen's situation. And that,
That's the house by the school.
yeah, so that's, we're gonna. You're right, the PFOAs play a big factor in leading this thing.
I think there was a lot of concern by, there's people about the size of the project that costs the location. I'm kind of curious with the, living machine type environment. You have like, maybe multiple smaller, more, acceptable.
Yeah, distribution points that can handle it, and digest it. Yeah, I think there's more to this than we've done so far, so it's, you're all in agreement, we'll keep moving forward. We get the approval from the select board when I met with them in December. I had some information to present as to where we've been, and set that a PowerPoint presentation that was just, knock the ball out of the park. And now I did get the approval from the chair of the select board to, continue our work. It's just a matter of finding the right people to come in and talk with us, gather the information, and keep it moving forward. Right. I'll talk to Hannah about getting more information on the PFOA research and some of the state laws that are out there that she's familiar with. And it'd be great to maybe try to get her at our next meeting. Put that on the agenda.
I can't remember his name, but the gentleman we talked to, when he was in Hawaii. He seemed to have a lot of practical experience as well.
Yeah, that was David, yeah. He's from Vermont, he was just happy to be out.
Right.
Yeah. But Hannah's found some other information out there that she's gonna be able to give us shortly.
That's actually an interesting, that is an interesting idea, if indeed. We're looking at delivering systems as being larger, perhaps, maybe they are scalable, smaller. And did you see that anywhere, or is that just something, have you come across?
Yeah,
that?
oh, yeah.
So it's just becomes, it's still just not cost effective to do them small, is that really why?
Well, again, the problem in the Northeast is that you have to have plants that can work year round, and you may have to have a small greenhouse to keep things going. So yeah, if everyone had not everyone, but if we had smaller greenhouses that could collect this on a smaller scale.
What is there something we could tie that into, like, beneficial for the town and business, you would think, with all the, it's a tough topic of, how you use the gray water and the wastewater, but.
You can use it for flowers and
Flowers,
things,
real
but you can't
flowers.
use it for,
Days it for food.
yeah, although,
You can, but it's more the, people don't like the thought.
yeah, although UMass is doing it, somehow they're using their recycled waters to.
According to one of the people from the state, you can't use it for food crops. That's a rule. That's not necessarily something based in science. They're being very cautious. Of course, I lived on a submarine for many months, recycled water to
But it's what people put in that water that could hurt you, yeah. You know what's in your water. You know what's in your water.
You test it all. the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Which I think would be part of it, like, when you.
Yeah, that becomes part of the problem, pharmaceutical, PFOAs, and whatever else. Paints, pesticides, what else?
But yeah, I think that's the other hurdle is getting people to accept it. I think that might help, if you have something that is more. Viewed as beneficial and not. An eyesore and, nobody. And the other thing is, selling it to the entire town rather than. It's,
Yeah.
just the town center.
It has to benefit everyone. Yeah. Either physically or monetarily.
Right. But if we get into a case where we get massive cross contamination. When the economic viability of the town tanks, then it becomes
Yeah.
something that is quite of interest to the entire.
Mhm.
I think that's a good point, but I don't think that would really. Share it very well. Or maybe we haven't got to that point. It's. I would say it's typical human behavior, you're not going to, invest in something that is a hypothetical, that isn't. Biting you, given time.
You gotta hedge your bet the right way. And understand what you're hedging. Right?
Yeah, and you gotta think about those things when you're doing even a technical project, because otherwise.
Finally gonna come down to the amount of money this costs individual households.
I'll be curious about that as well, if it could be more cost effective without having longer lines and as many pumps, because. The grant money is being exceeded, is there a way to. Pull that back in?
But as we move on the technical issues, I think it's likely time to get some help from folks that give us a sense of the financial layout, of something like this structure. Ballpark costs, high, low.
I think Canada.
What do you pay if you're living on Eastland Road? What do you pay on Pickle Street? That's an important question.
Right, so I will keep in touch with Hannah. See what she can offer more for us. If not herself, she can guide some information for other speakers and go forward. It sounds like this, research at Texas A&M, the individual involved there would be willing to Zoom with us. That'd be kind of cool.
Be nice to bring in the people who do the drift, dispersing. My daughter wants to use Austin, so we don't know how to everyone, but we'll affect it.
That's right.
My daughter wants to UT Austin, so
Oh.
I usually won't talk to them and all that.
Okay.
So Matt, did you say that there has been no meeting of the select board wastewater subcommittee?
There hasn't, no, it's been kind of tabled till time bond come up with an answer, if they're gonna go for it. Yep. Yeah, we were looking for meetings the past couple of weeks and they just keep moving it on.
Yeah, and Seth did say last night that he sent letters or a letter and it's waiting for an answer.
Yeah. I've had some communication with Seth. And, as I mentioned earlier, about, what do we do if we don't like your answer, or if we don't come up with an answer in a good enough time? Do we have any recourse to get out of this? And then what is the quick, what will the state do? Again, I understand that the grant will be good with whoever we choose. Grant's good for what, 5 years, 3 years, 3 years?
Yeah, I think it expires end of 26. So that's less than 3 years.
Yeah, so we can't drag our feet too long.
Hmm.
Well, that said, I mean, we gather as much information as we can here in our group, and hopefully it can help moving forward. Or at least we'll know the yes and no answers. When it comes about. I think we've gathered a lot of information in over a year now. It's, once a month and 20 to 30 minutes discussion, and we keep building the snowball. But I think it's working.
I think it's working from our perspective. I don't know that it has been internalized by our select board. I'm hoping that'll happen, but
No, I think they get it now. I think it's, yeah. I know that at least half that board gets it, know what we're doing, and are thankful for what we are doing, so.
Might be a good idea for the planning commission to be on every select board agenda, even if there's not that much to report.
hmm. Yeah. So that said, our next meeting will be after town meeting. It would be, what, the next day? Or will it be that evening?
that generally doesn't work for
That,
me.
that's not gonna work. We'll have to figure that out, date wise.
Well, don't we ordinarily meet the second Tuesday?
Yeah,
No, meeting is the first.
it is the first. Yeah, okay, so it'll be the following.
Yeah.
Tuesday. So. I was gonna skip the. Commission or appointments. My term is up this year. Eric is 25. Lester is 2026. And Ron's 2026. And Buzz, you're 27. So I'm the only one that's up this year. So what happens? New select boards created. Will the appointment? Does my appointment go till after they?
Typically, they will ask you if you want to continue in the position. Say yes, and. I have not seen a case. Where someone has said yes, that they refuse.
But in the years, like, if mine's, am I done as of January first? Am I done as of March first? What's the,
Oh, I think it's the appointment date would be, it would be in the month after the select board, after the town meeting. When they annually make appointments, I think you do it all that,
okay, so it'll be after the town meeting.
yeah,
So the next time the select board reconvenes after the town meeting elections.
So
Yeah.
before April first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's right, yeah, it's,
so typically the select board will have an organizational meeting. The night of town meeting day. And then that will be followed by a meeting during that month. It seems like it's usually the second meeting that they do the appointments.
reorganization.
Yeah, so the reorganization, or whatever you wanna call it, happens that day of the town meeting. And then there'll be one meeting after that, and then typically the next meeting will have all of the appointments in it. And sometimes they're a little later down the stream, but it comes quickly.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so I will stay on.
Good.
You guys have nothing to say about it. You don't vote. I will stay.
Good.
I will telegraph my intent to make sure you stay on this chair as well.
I will stay on as long as you guys are on. So back to planning commission timeline, so. We talked about this way back. And I'm trying to figure it out, I know I've got the scheduled timeline for the select board, but they have a whole lot more going on. And
Just don't pull Groucho Marx. Don't pull Groucho Marx, and refuse to be on the commission, then would have you on it.
So I guess it. The town plan is 2028, right? That it's due. To be completed,
Go back to whatever that date was when we. Got the select board to sign off on the town plan before. And.
do you remember that date?
I think we're on a 5-year cycle. The regional plan is on an 8-year cycle.
Hmm,
I think we're still on a 5-year cycle.
what do you mean 5 years? Because it used to be 8 years.
No?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
I had,
unless there's been a recent change that,
we're talking about the town plan.
right,
Yeah,
I had in my head that it's a 10-year thing, we approved it in 18,
Ooh.
and that's why we're talking about 28.
10 years.
I don't think it's 10, I think it's
No.
8.
Well,
so that will put it in 26. It's 8,
yeah,
it was 18.
well. I thought we were all thinking, we talked a bit about this last summer, 2028. And that's what I have in my head. So it should be checked, we can ask Morgan to get the official one. We need to know that, because if it's 26. It's gonna start work on this,
Hmm.
that process, once with a draft, I think. With all the agencies and then the required meetings and the issues that come up. That's a 1-year process at least.
At least.
On the town website, it says the plan is 2020 through 2028, was adopted by the voters. 113.
I'm sorry,
2020, so it's 2020 through 2028 on the town
okay,
website.
so it's 8 years, but it's 28. Okay, good. Okay, then we got 2 more years. put it off. Okay.
No. Well, my point with the timeline is, I remember, before Dave left, he wanted to start working on something, a little something each month. And I'd like to focus on some of the things that we may need to do for the state. But then, you know, maybe more on energy, is it gonna be more on, flood rates? Or all of the above? Do we know that yet? We don't know.
I think that's a matter of our collective opinion.
We've got a few legislatures to go through until 28, right?
My personal opinion is that we, have not ought to ignore resilience. Especially with respect to, things that are happening in our weather. Whether it be floods, ice storms, insurrections, just everything that can basically screw up our normal existence. We ought to have some awareness of and perhaps mitigation for within the town plan, or at least a structure that ordinances and other means of dealing with it can build upon. What we're seeing right now, particularly on Barry and Montpelier, could have happened to us. And it doesn't take too many flooding events like that to not only knock the state's budget out of whack, but the federal, and eventually it comes back down to local municipalities. How do you continue to operate as a government serving the people when you're being torn apart by climate events on a basis that exceeds your normal ability to pay for them? We have to do something different. So we have to think about how doing something different can be worked into what we want to do as a town. How we do land management, how we build infrastructure.
Mhm. One of the things you mentioned last meeting was the demand for electric, charging stations. The state wants us to put more electric charging stations on our public access land, and it's what we own, one of this building, the village park and the town garage, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So where do we put our EV stations? All those things are gonna, you know, come into play for us, and we don't have enough EV stations. Is that gonna be a demerit to us? Right?
I think we have to address it as an issue. I wouldn't be at all surprised with the next time it comes around for revising the things that towns have to put in their town plan. EV charging would appear as an issue. Better to be a little proactive.
Now, the WRC provides a lot of assistance in town plan revision.
Mhm.
And they will be up on all of those kinds of things.
No, well, they start. Every town's town plan is different. So if we need help, we just ask them to come here, or do we go to meetings there? They're going to a couple of meetings.
They have
Yeah.
come to our meetings in the past. We have had John Bennett, and I forget the name of the person before. They've helped us hands-on,
Yeah,
and generally they provide all that update on new regulations and I don't know, Eric, are you still a commissioner for the WRC? And who's the other commissioner?
Cheryl Kaufman.
Who?
Cheryl Kaufman. Eastman Road. Peter and Mary Bill's own place.
No. So, I mean, between the two of you, we can bring all the information back.
Well, yeah, and WRC helps us in many different ways. They can actually be put under contract to help us write our town plan, which sometimes in the past they've done. They will freely give advice, like coming and speaking at planning commission meeting,
Hmm,
for instance. They won't be like a staff member dedicated to the process. Like they will be under contract, but they will come as part of their regional commitment. And over and above that, they have the eyes and ears of the people in the state to know what's coming. And that gets telegraphed through, well, Cheryl and myself, and their the quarterly, I think it's quarterly, staff summaries of what they've done up to. That comes into the town office down here. Cheryl, will get a copy.
Their website is useful, I still find it useful, don't see what they're doing, what issues they're picking up on.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, and as you're doing your budgeting going forward, you might think about putting some, requesting money for contracting them for part of the work, because it's gonna be a lot of work,
Yep,
and everybody is a volunteer.
And how long did the last one take?
3 years, I wanna say, Eric,
at least.
at least 3 years.
More than that, that's what I had in my head.
Yeah,
Okay, when was it due? It was due in 2015
We got a,
or
Well,
something?
our plan expired in the meantime, it expired before we had the new one,
Yes. but a
and
long
that
time.
has
Yeah,
consequences,
a long time before.
yeah.
yeah, that held up our village center
The village
designation, for instance.
No, it's,
So if we lapse again, nothing gets taken away, I mean, our village center remains. But-
That remains, but there are, as I recall, there are certain grants that we would not be eligible for unless we have a valid town plan. So there can be concrete consequences for having it expire. So keep that in mind.
the first thing that was the wastewater, you know. Effort will go down the tubes if there's no official conflict.
Yeah,
The state won't touch it.
yeah.
So, but it's doable, and the idea, we never spend any money on the planning commission anyway, so if we spend a little money hiring someone, that's actually competent, people at WRC are always struck me as very, very good. Yeah, so that's part of it. We had a lot of help last time with, I'm blanking on his name, who played an important role in the planning commission for quite some time, as we're putting together the plan. Help me with the name, we hired him.
Oh, Chuck Weiss,
That's right.
yeah,
That was an important role.
yeah, Chuck was very helpful.
We're gonna need something like that.
Now, was he hired through Wyndham Regional or was he private?
No, the town, Grafton hired him.
But was he from Wyndham
No.
Regional? No.
No,
Was
he's
private
the zoning administrator for Rockingham.
At that time, yeah, now
I think
he's
he's,
in Springfield,
oh, he's in Springfield now?
yeah.
Yeah, anyway, no, Grafton hired him, and he was, very helpful.
Just kept the ball rolling in this difficult
So,
situation.
and how did we find him?
They're not too many of those cats out
I
there.
know, so.
He had experience, coming from the, Regional Planning Commission headquartered in Woodstock. I think it's Tours Alacucci. And so he had that plus his national, planners, certificates and that sort of thing. We didn't contact him until he had already become the zoning administrator for Rockingham. exactly how we wound up with it, what the connection was, I don't recall, but. We contracted with him. Both to be a scribe and to help us with planning issues, but that came as a kind of a bonus.
So we need to keep our eyes open and search if someone will give us a hand at that point, or cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, I think you're there now, I mean, sorry to say it that way, but. I mean, it's 24 and we're planned to expire at 28,
Start working on it
that's.
in the summer, yeah.
It's, I think the time is basically soon, and the idea that Dave had, as you mentioned, Matt, that, you know, start working on like one chapter
Chapter at a time.
at a time. And then it becomes more manageable. Because it's, yeah,
I remember we did it. Chapter by chapter. Once we get rolling on
mm,
it. Maybe we could start with the easier chapters first. Get them out of the way and then work into the complex ones. Midway, so we're. Get the steamroller going.
I think aiming for a full draft by the end of 26. Good thing. Maybe even for the early mid 26 or something.
How many chapters are there?
200.
You know, it's still close.
Yeah.
it's like a dozen or so.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
Nobody has-
downloaded the last one.
I mean, a lot of them are potted, there's several of them are potted, but they need to be brought up to date. It needs to be set up in a way that it's easily brought up to date, so if we have a draft for 8 months from now on something, you know, 2 years. If we changes that, it's have to be brought in.
12 with 5 appendices. There's 12 with 5 appendices.
There may be something we can do over the next month or two is look at it just in terms, are these the appropriate chapters? Are there some new issues that we should think about that sort of deserve their own separate discussion? Maybe one chapter could be pulled apart. You know, have you thought about it? We looked at it for 2 years, but you know, maybe there's something that is really no longer germane or that important. They can be brought into another chapter or something. So we might look at just the, you know, the structure of the actual topics that we want to get started.
There are a statutory set of must-haves.
Yeah.
So we have to cover those regardless, they don't have to be the chapter headings. But we have to cover the
Yeah.
issues.
Do you know if there's been any changes to that set of requirements? Because
I don't. That would be a good question for Chris Campbell. WRC.
what are we calling those again? The 5, you said there were 5 of them.
Appendices. Appendices.
No,
No,
you said.
Oh, okay.
there's a statutory set.
Statutory set, okay.
yeah, we were literally just checking them out.
And typically, they're just the chapter headings. But there's nothing to say that we can't. And in fact, there's a report that has to come with a new town plan, which addresses how each of the statutory requirements are reflected in the text of the town plan. They don't have to be chapter and verse, the headings of the state requirements. They have other headings on them, but you have to cover the issues.
As long as it's in the text.
Correct.
So getting back to like the timeline, we get monthly, obviously, we have monthly meetings. Annuals, anything annually that we need to make sure we do. There's always that November grant that's always, what's the, grant that comes up in November? Due by November. Like a $5,000.
Don't know which time.
I always had that date in mind. Was by November, if you wanted to get this grant, is it a,
There's a municipal planning grant,
municipal planning grant?
November is, a little late on that, I think that is more like a late September, October kind of time frame. That has to be submitted. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's not as late as November.
I thought we brought up in the past whether we need to do it, and it seems like we never do it.
Well, that is the typical source that we've used to provide the contracting money for staff member of WRC to assist us with town plan. Also the source that we've used for the river studies that were done by Fitzgerald and the flash flooding analysis of the river.
So, is that comes from,
It's a state,
it's a state, not a county?
yeah, it's a state grant. Typically, it gets administered by WRC, but it can be administered locally. They've got a town administrator that can stay on top of it. It's kind of bureaucratic. Those are typically $5,000 to $10,000.
And you say it's September?
I think that's the time frame. Municipal planning grant.
Says they're closed for fiscal year 2024, fiscal year 2025 is July 1st through to 30th.
And when is the submission at? There a date timeline associated with that?
Fall of 2024.
I'm just
So it would
saying,
be for the following
Next
July.
yeah,
So we should apply for one this year if we want to have help. Next
Right.
year?
that application, I think is more of a September, October kind of.
Yeah, they have a whole handbook on there for how to do a town plan, and then something to help with T-Work. So you can actually hire with the grants to help write the thing.
What state are you in? State?
Vermont, government website. Sorry, I probably should do it, I didn't mind that. It's the Vermont government website.
Oh. No, I thought they could picture.
Would you look up town plan?
Vermont town plan. They got a whole online manual and a checklist for doing there's like select board meetings, depending on how many people you have in town, it's 2,500 people or more or less. Yeah. You have to, one meeting if it's less, two meetings if it's more. Space them out. So it lines it all out. Pretty clearly.
We went through all of that last time. We need to check to make sure if they've changed any of the requirements and structure.
Yeah, that's why I was looking to see if they have it, and they do have a current name.
And as I recall, that's where they had some help from the Mineral Regional Commission.
So we're looking to, the hopes, we can start this summer in 2024 on our own, and then once we get up to 25, we're gonna need help. Potentially, to apply for a grant here this summer.
Yeah.
So we move on our timeline and say July. What was the July date, Buzz?
July 1 is.
That's when you can begin to,
July 1 through June 30th. So it's saying 2024 is closed, so that's July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
for a 2025 grant.
And that application cycle opens in July of 2024, with applications due in the fall. So it just says July, so I assume July 1.
So we're talking 2025 and 6.
For the grant to apply, the application is July of this year.
I'm sorry, are you saying we have to apply in July for the next July? That's relatively soon.
Later than fall of that year.
Right, but you can start on July 1 and you submit by the fall.
Yeah.
For the motion.
Well,
So obviously, if you apply early, you're gonna get,
you know,
you
our
know,
initial time.
It's probably always gonna be early when you have a problem.
you know. Should we plan on that, July meeting, put together,
Or maybe one before.
Hmm?
Maybe the,
maybe June,
I
and
would,
submit it in July?
I would suggest as far as our order of priority in terms of the chapters, that we hold off on the, what I would call the statistical demographic state of the region kind of chapters. There are a couple where that would apply to late in the process, so that the information is much more current when the town plan actually comes up for adoption.
A great deal of that information was provided by the.
Yes, yes.
They did.
They're
Both
really
of
good
them
on
on the data.
So do you have a time frame to use that money?
the grant one. I think it's within that following July 1 to.
Do you have to use it within that fiscal year?
Well, we applied for the following year as well.
Yeah, it's the fiscal year of July 1.
Yeah.
Through the fall.
And if you don't use it? No fall.
No,
I don't see where it says that. If there's any penalty.
Go in somebody else's pocket.
Mid 25, might be a good time, if that, I don't remember what that money's be useful, but, you know, hire someone to start giving us some structure.
Yeah.
Leading us.
Well, they do actually say you can hire this agency, though. That help. Use the grant money to actually bring them into the program.
When we get a grant from them and then we pay them.
Nice
Life is good.
as I said, typically we've had a staff member of WRC that sort of keeps the money local.
Yeah.
1 year we had a person from the Scotty Windsor regional plan or regional commission come and assist us. He was really good. Solomon Kennedy. I think he's retired now. He was the executive director there. We've had a staff member from WRC that practically none of our planning commission would stand to be around, but he still did a decent job for us. Nobody liked him.
That's not a requirement.
No, competence is the requirement, and we've always had competent help from WRC. think we've actually done it before without any outside contractor. It's not rocket science, but it sure helps to have somebody, and another reason for, being a little bit biased towards WRC is the fact that once we have what we consider to be the final edition of our town plan, it gets reviewed by a committee of the WRC commissioners to judge its compatibility with the regional plan. That is greatly facilitated if the staff member from WRC is the one that's helping us.
Fix in.
Yeah.
No, they've always struck me as being very professional. It's a good place to start.
So I'll put June. I'll put July 1st. Municipal planning grant application. On my time and then I'm free on there. How about training? Actually, we're not gonna do it monthly, but at least yearly, do we try to get one or a couple of us to training, and what type of training do we want to work toward the town plan? Training, we want to work on, and would Wyndham Regional help us with our wastewater research?
I think they will regardless. Because this is a topic of particular interest to Chris Campion. And it has been recognized by other folks, basically in the commission, that it's a regional problem that towns presently can't help with. I think we'll find they will be more than helpful.
So should we just maybe hold a meeting with Chris, have him come in, would he come in to help us? Or this is, do I need to click or something with him?
Yeah, Tuesday nights are typically his executive committee meeting nights. Second Tuesdays.
So if we can get him, say, on a Wednesday, we bump our meeting to a Wednesday. Where he can come in and
Yeah,
do an open discussion with him on wastewater. Is there something we want to invite Hannah there too, or just keep it Chris?
stay flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to have him come in, but have something in mind that he can do for us when he does.
Yeah, I agree.
Wasn't he also being put forth as the ombudsman from the,
I was just thinking that, yeah.
I mean, and frankly, and that's, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know what happened to any of it. But to some, if I'm not mistaken, somewhat that was what we were thinking perhaps Hannah could help us with.
Yeah, we were back and forth on Chris.
Right, so I mean, I don't know if you want both, I don't know how, what happened, I think it would be useful, but again, to lead them on, I don't know, I just think have them both together. I just want to make sure we're aware of the possible that both of them are contenders. Is that, unless I'm mistaken?
I think Chris is the better choice for a master ceremonies for a public meeting like we had in the schools. He showed great organizational and facilitating skills.
And agility.
Yeah.
It's not Hannah's job. That's not.
Right, it's not the job, she'd be passionate to help us do it, but we could also pay her too.
I think,
She's a fresh look at it all, I think.
one reason for thinking of having both together is, we don't want to reinvent the wheel with this. We don't want to take them through tie and bond and all that. We want to go straight to what we're really interested in, which is on the new system. And that's what we're gonna have a discussion about. He may have a whole lot of information that we're not aware of. That we just, this along. But I think we want to tell them that's the topic.
So. Would we want? Oceana could have made it tonight, but, if she comes to me with some good information, you want me to add her to our next meeting? And then do Chris after her?
Sure, invite them both to come
Zoom.
in via Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. If we're doing a Tuesday night, Chris can't make it at all.
Don't know what the timing is of this meeting. I would guess it starts earlier than ours. And if it were this time of night, I'm almost sure that his executive meeting would have expired.
And ask him. Sure, it works for him.
Yeah.
So any other training that? Is all of our training through Wyndham Regional, or is there any statewide, most everything I assume get comes from Wyndham Regional?
And there's a lot of good training that comes from VLCT.
Yeah, the LCT also, yeah. Did everyone get this? This just came today. I'll use it to segue to the next item, revisiting our town survey. If we're good on timeline, anything else we think of add to the timeline? For us? I mean, as the chair, I don't wanna be like, oh, we forgot to do this. That's what I'm kind of getting at with the timeline.
I think if we simultaneously work on the technical aspects of wastewater treatment and tackling things relative to the town plan, and we'll have our plate quite full.
So but for the next meeting, we should all take a look at the town plan and go through that and have some thoughts about organization and that's really left off. I think that, I mean, someone was saying that, one of you guys was saying that. So that should be an action, I mean, for the next. It would be great, not to get too far ahead, it'd be great if we could ever find a Word document of that. Is it still available somewhere? Of the top plan.
Yeah, it's on the.
Oh, it's on the website of the Word document?
Yeah, I just downloaded it.
That's great.
Would you like a hard copy? I've got like three.
No, I got a hard copy. I like, now that I know how to use track changes, I like all.
So town plan, free topic discussion. For next meeting,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you
I
said.
said free, kind of
Yeah,
free
free
topic
talk, yes.
discussion.
Pre-discussion.
Okay, town survey, you know, as we get closer to the town plan, do we want to do something? In 25, 24, 25. Help guide us. I think that was the intention when Dave first brought that up. And we all talked about it back when we were doing the town plan back in the day, right? Without getting it too complicated. try to keep it as simple as possible to gather some information. Well, this one just came today, a survey on, Vermont Outdoor Recreation Plan Survey. This is from Wyndham Regional, did you get this? It literally just came this afternoon,
I haven't seen.
at 3:15 today, I got it. I actually took the survey while I was eating supper tonight. It said it took 15 minutes, and as fast as I went through it, I was only halfway through it in 15 minutes. Pretty extensive. Get into everything from walking trails to snowmobiling to ATV riding to hunting, skeet shooting, fishing, tennis, everything. It went right down through everything. It surveyed whether you were, how far you were from your local community versus did you have to go outside your community for these services or for activity. So it's trying to narrow down where, didn't ask me where it's from yet. I think maybe at the end it was probably going to say where you could locate. Didn't get to that point yet. If this didn't come in your email, we'll send it to you. Well, even though it's focused on recreation, it shows you how a survey could get pretty involved. As it kept, I thought it was just gonna be simple answers like, yes, I hunt, yes, I play tennis, yes, I hike. But if you answered those, it took you further in. Okay, where do you hike? You hike local, you hike out of your local area, you, I don't know, how many days do you hike? Says daily, weekly, more than once a week, once a month, more than once a month. Some of it got redundant, but it just went on and on.
Maybe one of the things to find out is how long did it take them to develop that and how much did it cost?
Yeah,
And I recall, we were talking about this last year, about somehow they're trying to figure out and the political difficulties of people's reaction to surveys. Was that just about the wastewater that we were? I remember we were talking about the same sort of stuff about, how to go about doing it, how expensive it would be to do it properly, how people wouldn't necessarily go and do it, so, take the surveys. I think, and again, it's part of the reason I think to studying the town plan, again, for me at least, is that I don't even know really what kind of info arguably we would be surveying. I mean, remember the general consensus was that good ideas is what people thought about the future of the place, and that was a very loaded, bunch of questions, line of questioning.
well, this survey, was sent to me from Wyndham Regional, Ashley Collins.
Yeah, Ashley is the administrative person
Yeah.
at the URC.
So she sent it out, and she sent it on behalf of Vermont Department of Forest, Parks and Recreation. And they wanted us to keep forwarding this to other folks in our networks. It's to move forward together Vermont is the program. VOREC, VOREC. Vermont Recreational. Vermont Outdoor Recreational. Something. Recreational Economic Collaborative. They're leading to move forward together in Vermont. Large scale planning process to develop Vermont's next shared vision for outdoor recreation. Priorities for the next 5 years. So it will probably impact our recreation chapter. Large scale planning process to develop let's see, we have priorities for next 5 years, okay, so part of the survey got into some things that are, I know are happening in some of the urban areas with water parks and, um, hard surface areas where you can play pickleball, and all these different things. I'm sure the survey is gonna pinpoint, okay, no, that's a low priority for most people here in Vermont. Maybe in Burlington might be a higher priority. For parks for kids and so on. So again, as I went through the survey, it literally took me from, it's just gonna be a simple hiking, biking, hunting survey, and it just really expanded out into a lot of different areas. But you're right, how long did it take them to do this, and what did it cost?
How they the process.
Think of that, but yeah. Yeah. I'll send it out to you folks. You didn't already. Not already in your mailboxes. Did you get it, Lisa? You still on the mailing list for all that?
No,
Want to take a survey? Send it to you.
you can send it to me, sure. I actually kind of like to answer survey questions and evaluation and,
You'll like this one. Like I said,
comments.
it said it would take 15 minutes. And
Yeah,
while I was eating, I was going through pretty quick, and I was looking, going, I gotta get to the meeting. And it said you were halfway through, and I'm like,
well,
really?
the survey can be also very concise and brief, and it's just depending on how you design it, then if you're thinking about the survey to help with town plan, I mean, I think it will be very valuable to get some basic input from townspeople
Mm,
about what they see will need.
yeah. What was interesting about this was if you answered a question, it.
Yeah, then
kept
there's
you going.
more,
If you,
sure.
if you said,
Yeah.
no, I have no opinion, or,
Mm.
does not apply to me, it just moved you forward.
Yeah, sure,
You know.
yeah,
So we can do the same thing with our
Yeah.
survey, like,
Yeah.
are you a resident, are you?
Yeah.
Over 18, all that, we can get information from everybody along the way. So, who do we hire to do that,
And how do you process it afterwards?
right?
Mm.
This is, if you peek behind the door, it's probably a very large branching set of questions.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
And I thought about that, how
would
they-
not make sense, I think, for a town survey. But you could do something for free, right? Isn't survey monkey free
yeah,
Yeah,
for,
for a simple survey? And question? And one open ended. Anyway, that's.
mm,
Hey, what do you do with, in terms of, food response,
that's the issue.
because, you know. As I said, maybe it's just a few very open-ended questions. Might be a direction to go, because you can have a very sophisticated survey. And if you have 8 people responding. They could all say the same thing, it still doesn't matter. 400 households.
and I thought of that while I was going through it, how is this being processed? I picked out the things that I like to do when I, yes, high priority. And I'm thinking, how many people still like hunting and make it a high priority, or who still, hikes alone in their local, community center. And ask if you hiked alone with someone, with friends, it just went on and on, it's like, really? No, I don't hike it, team answer. So that can happen in a survey too, a lot of happening these days, it's just getting too redundant.
There's another aspect to surveying where your intent is to use some of the results in how you shape the town plan. And that is to make the survey actually representative of the population. And the only way they know how to do that is to go out and knock on doors. And I personally don't know how to do that, but there are a lot of people in town, well, first of all, they probably don't have internet, or if they do, they probably are not that interested in taking the survey, but their opinions count. And perhaps the only way to get them to have input so that it is representative of the town is to go around and actually interview them individually. Real big pain, but if our intent is to use the survey to actually impact what we put into the town plan, we should really work hard to make it representative.
Well, one way maybe to do that is to use an insert in the Grafton News,
That,
which goes, you know, a paper insert goes to every household. And then it will be accessible and relatively easy to respond.
Yeah, that's a way we could. Give people a bit of, you know. Not be uptight about it, you can just say, which street are you on? You know, get any more specific than that, but you would like to make sure you get some response that's generalized across the geography of the town. But, you know, Eric, you're right, who gets surveyed is crucial. 50 years ago, part of a small finance company formed themselves after finance for a year or so, and we built up and around the place. But, so we got a contract to survey people in the Yonge Street Mall in Toronto. Yonge Street's their main street, and so they tried them all. So malls were the big thing. Then we had the contract and surveyed several hundred people, but you know, there were men and women on that group there, I think 5 of us. And it turned out we each surveyed the opposite sex, the ones that were good looking. They had a bias. So, you know, knocking on doors might be the thing, and you might put a thing in the news. And would say it's gonna be somewhat random, though, if you try and get someone on each row or something like that. But, you know, who you get to respond is crucial, as crucial as what you have in the questions.
All right, any other comments on survey? Wyndham Regional update,
everything's been pretty quiet. Have been multiple meetings canceled because there was no business to be taken care of. I don't think of anything that regional has brought up that needs to be aired at this time.
any training sessions coming up with them that you're? I haven't gotten any. Thing from Wyndham Regional for a while, usually. Back in the fall, so maybe I'll get something
Yeah,
time to month.
do you get their staff activity summaries? Or there's yearly sort of message to the community?
I don't think I got that.
I will go back through my email and send into those attachments that came through. So that we at least know what they're doing.
Actually, I think most of what I do get, which have gotten is from you forwarded on to us. Occasionally I'll get something like this. Survey that came,
Well, they all come into the town administrator. But whether or not she forwards them to everybody.
yeah, okay.
She probably wouldn't unless asked to.
All right, now. Any old business? New business running with that?
Yeah, let me just pass this around. I think we need to be aware of it. It's not- yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So this is a bill, that's moving through. Legislative system in Ontario. And, you know, if you read the statement of purposes. It's pretty straightforward. They want to limit adjoining landowner participation. uh, The public health and safety and traffic, remove the aesthetics criteria. And then you go down to line 13, it's regarding new gas, electric purchases, investments in facilities. And then if you go to the second page, bottom under K. And you go to line 16. So their participation is limited to whether the facility will have an undue adverse impact on public health and safety or traffic under subdivision 3.5 of the section. And they must prove that they have a particularized interest protected by this section that may be affected. So that's moving through the system. And there are already some towns that have, you know, raised their tackles over this. And you know, it's important for us to know about and think about how we might address this, or if we should. Some of the words I have is, I think aesthetics is just the tip of the iceberg of this. Once they start limiting local participation in any way, there's no reason they can stop. So there's that issue, and then the issue, you know, all of a sudden, local concerns about so-called aesthetics is no longer germane. So.
You're imagining, so specifically, just to make sure, that you're imagining, for example, that someone would not have the right to object to somebody putting a huge array of solar panels next to it. That's the sort of thing that you're saying. And they're saying that that we couldn't, that one couldn't object.
You could, what's happening here, there have been some, you know, reports and votes on discussions that have been picked up by the media on this. And so there's a proposal, let's call it a solar proposal, or even a wind one, that becomes that. And you can complain, but you can't complain that suddenly. Okay, you can't complain that, okay, here's my property line, here's my dwelling, you know, 100 feet back and across the road, right up to the edge. You can complain about traffic, but you can't complain about any aesthetic consideration. So that's taken out. And, you know, when we have issues of development around here, oftentimes people are saying, I just don't want to see that. That's their complaint. So how serious, you know, does the planning commission and the select board take that type of complaint? It's not obvious. But at the state level, they're saying, guess what? Don't care what you think about how it looks. Okay. And aesthetics is a very loose term. It's aesthetics can be sound, direction. It's more than just how it looks.
Yeah.
Much, it's a very slippery slope, and as I said at the beginning, one of the things that worries me about it is if this passes, it won't be long before there'll be other limits that are thrown out there. And how do you prove, issues about health and safety? Aesthetics, is an easier thing for people to grasp than to say, oh, I don't think it's safe for this reason, and someone else says, well, I'm gonna probably show that, and so on. It'd be very difficult, make a case on local. One tendency about this, and this has been happening in Vermont over the years anyway, is the state just getting under control of that stuff. So they end up telling us, this is good for you to decide.
The Manning state actually took the criteria off, but I can see that it is a problem criteria, but rather than have a long list of things that people could object to, which is, would be arguably the way a lot of regulation has been going. They kind of constrain this now. And yet it is a thing, but am I reading that correctly? I mean, is that what they certainly seem to have taken this out of the regulatory prescription.
Yeah, yeah. The question is whether it's justified.
The argument down, the board of bills and music,
And what do you have? Left. In terms of local input. And if you look at it, it's broken down into 4 categories: public health, public safety, traffic, and aesthetics. And now aesthetics is taken off. It's taken off one of 4 broad categories that you could have a discussion at the town level.
do you think that the word should be clarified, should be, it's too broad to use the word aesthetics, or you just think the whole thing should not be taken?
You're asking me what my thoughts are?
Yeah.
Well, as I said, aesthetics is a loose term. And that's okay with me, because, not everyone would agree. If you had a specific and type definition, a list of items,
Yeah.
not everyone would agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay. And what might pass muster on 121, pass muster on Middletown Road. So I'm at ease with a rather loose interpretation. It depends on the situation. Same thing with, when we talk about safety and traffic. What's okay in 121 is not okay. It was a reason. Doesn't.
Do you have an idea what generated the interest in removing aesthetics from this?
Not that I know what you're talking about. I mean, I have an idea in the sense of, the politics behind this, but it's just my own personal opinion. And just looking at the sponsors of the bill, when they, white is, from my perspective, crazy. So, what's one of her quotes? I don't want to attribute it to her, but it's kind of the things exactly. Literally, she didn't care, what her constituents thought. She knew. So. Anyways,
Where's she?
that's just my.
Where's she?
Windsor, am I right?
Windsor.
Yeah.
They
So,
know why.
yeah. So, that's just like this whole thing. But what drives this, way behind it is this, at the state level politically, and at the state level in terms of the administration, it just grows. It grows, it takes over more and more per month. So this is just one aspect of that.
They keep adding more paint to the walls, so
There's no
they
reason,
have,
no reason for them to stop.
without scraping off what's there first.
I mean, another issue that's, tangential to how towns get interested is, S5 and the fuel reporting requirement. That actually goes through, it'd be devastating to. And again, Windsor Center for Performance. He said, because I hope it is, because we need to stop these guys from delivering fossil fuel, so. That's part of it. That's it. Okay. S5, is anyone, it's the required reporting of the fuel dealers. They actually have to report to the state the percentage of the fuel that's being used in an individual household for different uses, for heating. Yeah. They can't do that.
And how much went into my tractor.
Yeah, it can. But the Attorney General said, well, I'm gonna give them a grace period of a month before we start charging them. So, that's how I'm saying some of this stuff is. And what it would do, because is it push out the smaller dealers. Yeah. So, whatever is behind this, it's, at least to me, it's very worrisome in terms of town rights and.
So is this on, is it an individual does something, or is it? Strictly by
Well, the landowner can be anybody, so it can be a property, and the landowner can be the town.
Any facility that requires a certificate of public good.
Yeah.
So. Most private things, of course, don't require a certificate of public good.
it's referencing new gas and electric purchases, investments, and facilities. What do you mean by and electric purchases?
Sorry?
And electric purchases, new gas
Yeah.
and electric purchases.
Um,
Compressors, all kinds of HVAC and EP stuff. I think it's.
I guess what I'd like to suggest then is that. As a commission, move forward this to the select board and ask them to, pick it up as an item to be discussed.
I'm not digesting this right now.
Sorry,
I'm not digesting this at all.
what way? So,
I don't know what they're getting at.
oh,
I really don't.
and what they're getting at is removing one of the criteria that
I know that.
local folks can bring up and even local towns can bring up. Or developments that have to do with, gas and electric investment in facilities, which is energy. And we're talking about energy.
So it could be anything, it could be a power line, be a solar panel, be
Yeah.
a wind turbine, it could be a fuel tank.
Yeah, as long as it's something that requires a certificate of public good.
It goes from-
It has to be like a, large facility.
Anything that goes in from the Public Utility Commission, so.
Yeah.
Usually they say, well, just plant a bunch of trees in front of it and good to go.
The question is whether or not the town should protest the removal of one of the, areas that we can express concern in for development. That's all.
If I were to speculate. This may be a reaction to what happened down in Bennington. Where there was a proposed solar development. Was held up. For several years. And then finally denied. By the Public Utilities Commission. On the basis of aesthetics.
Could be seen from the highway.
I don't know. I never got that involved with it. I don't pay that much attention to big utility scale solar. But I did pay attention to the fact that, they use aesthetics as the criteria for denying the certificate of public good. That was a big deal. That was a substantial solar field.
Yeah.
Then a few people objected to the intellectuals of it. So yes, this was a reaction to that.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense to play a role. It's just that we're not gonna let that happen again. So.
But it's basically taking away the power, a little more power from the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying, yeah, that's.
Exactly, usually, the way things are moving, it's quite possible that in the next plan. To the state and in the mutual position. That will be, under the burden of developing more solar resources. We met the requirement this last time. But that may change. Voting was done now, I would say it will change. Pressures. So it's not a new point. It's a point.
Something like, we're over 500 bills. Being read this year. Various sorts. Both Senate and House.
All of that, and that's. Confusing.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Ron. Any other new business?
Well, as I said, I would like us to forward this to the select board for their.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For their information.
do you want to do that? Do you want me to do it?
I'd ask you as a chair if that's okay.
How do you want me to present it? Because this is, they're gonna take some time to have to digest
I
it.
guess I would ask them to put them on their agenda as an item to be discussed and, I'll try and get to that meeting myself.
you do a synopsis to. Put this in,
Sorry?
put this in wording so that. It's quick for them to digest and,
I had thought of that myself, and I said, I think, no, to see, because the plain wording there, and then there's no issue about, you know. What are you really trying to say, where's your position on this and so on, this is the proposed
you know,
act.
so you present it with. The fact that the state is taking away some. Power from the town.
It's not really that, it's taking away a criteria that the Public Utility Commission can use to review a project that is proposed. It's not taking anything away from the town specifically. However, it's a town or an individual or some person who is a stakeholder.
Yeah.
In the process with the P O C that may or may not raise it as an issue. They're taking that issue away.
Yeah,
It's not taking from the town. They're taking it from the stakeholders in the P O C.
the stakeholder might be the town. but
Yes,
it's
it
not
might be.
an issue, but yeah, it's broader than that. And. Well, Eric just said it, you, according to this, you wouldn't be able to appear before the PUC or write something to them or something. And raise an aesthetic issue as a local stakeholder. So it's limiting, you know, local input, local design.
Yeah.
Broadly in terms of who's, who can think of this, like, local person.
And then what can I do with it?
You know, they can decide to do nothing. They can
Like,
decide,
right to that,
It's a-
so we,
you know, an issue, to be discussed amongst themselves. Who knows?
a lot of these get put through because no one even knows about.
Well, that's one of the things we're talking about now is, okay, let's let some people know about it, see,
it.
maybe that's. Says,
This is the first year it's been introduced.
I don't know if there's a history for this. Or. It may very well be in the sense, I do not recall this being an item for road, pass. But we don't know.
Made them use them off doing
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
We are the road news store. So, yeah, so the
What-
TV station, they brought them off there.
CAS, WC.
Just today? Yeah. On that thing. Your Rio co-op.
I wonder how it's played.
Well, they quoted the Senator, Beckel White. You know, she's saying that, aesthetics isn't a good reason for. Delaying renewable energy, and because of it. The projects tend to end up in lower income areas because, you know, they're not able to have the road all the make that. That's where the quote the story.
She must have sat down with her colleagues to work out that rationale.
what paper, that was WCAS?
Yeah. Hot off the press.
So,
At least it was good.
so are you gonna forward this to the select board?
Yeah,
It's good.
Okay. Do that then.
forwarded on to Joe.
Well,
I would say to all of them,
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
if it only goes to Joe, it might stay there.
yeah, and, Morgan and ask that it be put on the agenda.
I think you have to have a select board member ask to put it on the agenda.
And kind of put your, maybe you and I can attend.
Yeah.
The next to the agenda. Yep. Any other new business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I have forwarded to you, Matt, but not to the rest of the group. And which I will do tonight when I get home. There's another piece of legislation afoot that disturbs me quite a bit, which does away with what we have group net metering. It is the facilitating rulemaking that allows a group of people or an individual to have a connection to the utility with a renewable energy source that is not on or adjacent to the property. They're doing away with that, which kills what we call community solar. And it kills an individual who might be living, say, in Grafton Village, and their roof is not suitable for solar, but they've got a piece of land out of town where got lots of sun. You no longer can go out there and set up an array and feed back into the grid to offset their meter here in town. Doing away with group net metering, I don't know why, except it may be a little bit of an administrative burden to the utilities. All it is a paperwork, accounting situation. Doesn't involve any construction or anything else. And it really, it's the death of the community solar. Very upset about it. Just read about it the day before yesterday. I will let you all know about
What's the, wait, thing, what
group net metering.
group net, and this was the way. Group net metering was permitted,
Yes,
and that is what really drove community solar, then, right?
yes, you can't, you basically can't.
Basically, removing it.
Yeah, yeah,
Campus for,
yeah, that's
they
net
would
metering.
have gone through. They-
No,
They wouldn't have.
What's the number on that?
I don't, if you have access to your email here. Right off, and I think it is H.289.
Page 289?
Think, but I could be wrong.
I don't have it.
If you've got,
I didn't get it. When did you send it?
oh, just look what I mean.
No, I didn't have service.
Guys,
Night, it's night, I mean, thank you.
Which, house members brought this forward, you know?
Well, one of the more disturbing ones on the top of the bill is Sedalia from Dover.
Over.
Yeah,
Why do they care? This,
but I understand this has been a compromise because there are other things about the bill that they like. They're willing to sacrifice this to the easement of the utilities. Did you find it?
I found a lot of information about group net metering, but not any new law.
That'd be under legislature and look for a bill, which is. It's 289 or 287, I think.
It's from the House.
Yes, and you'll all get the forward tonight when you get home. The only reason I learned about it is because 350 Vermont sent out a alert to people that are on their mailing list that the demise of community solar. I'm saying it's not just the demise of community solar, it also takes away the ability of an individual to have an off-site solar.
What about minimum rates?
I'm not wondering.
Has there been a lot of community solar activity? I mean, it's hard to believe that they would just go be put out the pasture like that.
Yeah, there's actually some federal. mandates, but
There's not been as much as should have been. It's difficult to herd all the cats together. It's difficult insofar as a good business model for managing community solar. But it has been done and has been gradually getting better over the years. And now it's.
H289.
So Eric, what do you think benefits of
Utilities. They get rid of a bunch of paperwork and what. And they also get to
those
control,
potential projects? And make
these
that-
are projects that don't benefit them very much. And it puts more burden on them with net metering. I think they'd rather have the standard offered big utilities scale projects. Net metering deals with individuals.
Yeah. Okay.
So who benefits on? Ron's, that's 248.
I think that's the big developers. More than anything else. As Lisa pointed out, the really small systems. Which are under 15 kilowatts now. Do not have the provision for. Adjoining landowner objections. For whatever reason, aesthetics or whatever.
Yeah. Did you get it? Buzz?
No. I haven't sent it.
Oh,
An act related to renewable energy standard. Clearly reports that it, what was the number? 289. Alternative regulation of electric and natural gas company. Does the bill be amended? Bill be amended by striking out all after. S218P is amended to read
To get into the
alternative regulation of the
details.
natural gas.
um, You don't want to look at the as introduced. It's what they've been doing right along. Time committing activity. Hold on there. And look for today's operation, February 6th.
This is the draft that you sent me, Eric. This draft. And it refers back to,
Yeah, that's amended actually today.
yeah. Striking. Out. Enacting clause, and inserting. In lieu thereof the following. To read, alternative regulation of electric and natural. Gas companies.
Yeah, I do find.
So if you go through there, there'll be a, strikeout of the section relative to, well, basically group net metering, which is,
This is 41 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, net metering. Well, there's a lot to this.
there is. Group net metering is a big deal. Steam can, I'm not happy.
So big companies are lobbying this.
I don't know what big companies, I think the utilities are lobbying to get rid of it, I think the.
There's any utilities are lobbying this.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of strikeouts and language changes, it's really.
This is. Highlighted. What is this?
I think that's new language.
Okay, new language, so I'll read this. They're used in the subsection D, so customer with low income means a person purchasing energy from a retail electricity provider. And with an income that is less than or equal to 80% of area median income adjusted for family size. As published annually by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So if you're getting power from a utility,
My guess is this is in response to the need to reflect legislation's effect on people of low or otherwise, low income or otherwise compromised power. Either ethnically, whatever. Yeah, putting that in there as part of the definition.
there's something that's a new renewable energy and low growth renewable energy. In order to support progress toward Vermont's climate goals and requirements, a provider may, but shall not be required to exceed the statutory required amounts under this section. Renewable energy.
Sounds Orwellian, you're saying in order to meet your goals, you're gonna make it harder to develop.
Yeah, this-
choices.
Yeah,
This is looking more and more like bullshit. You can put that in minutes. Man,
And it's hard to read.
so if I wanted, if I could put something on my land, I wanted to put it in a field that I own, I could do it. That was my only source of electricity and I couldn't use fossil fuels. What do I do? I'm shit out of luck.
Yeah. Group net metering. First appeared, I believe, in New Jersey. And then it didn't exist anywhere else in the country. And then, not too many years after that, it appeared here in Vermont. It was heralded as a great thing, and it was. Utilities weren't that keen on it, but it sure made the possibilities of getting solar sited properly and not compromising people's ability to participate, which, by the way, you'll see my email I sent around, they struck out the line that says that, to the extent possible, everybody should be, allowed to participate in the process. I'm using the wrong words, but you'll see that, the top end of my email sent that I sent.
Well, good. Loading on my phone now. A bunch of plans I had to load this morning. This is. No, the select board had a lot on their agenda this month, but do you throw both these at them and say, look at these?
Well,
I'm passionate about it, but I don't know whether they would be.
yeah, no, the common thing here is that it's harder and harder for small entities or individuals to, deal with what's being thrown at them at the state and through, and the state is acting for other, the stakeholders who, have some power one way or another, and it's just turning us out. So if you don't fight them all, you may end up losing them all.
And one potential mistake on draft is that, the opportunity exists for a group net meter system to exist across the road from the town highway garage, which could, under the new language, only offset the meter of the highway garage. But under the old regulations, could offset this building and other public buildings in town that the town could choose to have offset.
Good point. Yeah.
They you just keep reaching deeper and deeper in this, okay. You just sent this to me.
Yeah.
You want to forward this to the select board, or want me to forward it?
Why don't you forward my email to you to them? Yeah.
And along with, why don't you send me the same thing? And then,
I'll send you, I couldn't get
I can better bring up
that
that,
state act. Cause I wanted to download, I couldn't do it, but if you go,
I'll see if I can download this one,
yeah,
add it to this,
yeah.
and I'll do a,
And if you can't, let me know, but, I had wanted to do that originally, and I wasn't able to do it. But partly that's because I'm an idiot when that comes to.
How about I'll do a cover letter to the select board. Yeah, we brought this up in new business discussion, the bills that are,
Yeah, these are
In
bills that
session.
concern the planning commission.
Yeah.
Members of the planning commission.
Yeah.
Want you to be aware of it.
and,
That's it.
and we see that the concern moving forward into our new town, next town plan and in general,
Yeah,
taking a lot of rights away from
Yeah.
individuals and municipalities.
yeah.
Yeah, but, forward my email that I sent to you with it, with the. I don't think there are any attachments.
Yeah,
There's some three links.
oh, it's a mailing list. Oh, Tech Community Solar,
That's the, yeah, okay, that's an attachment to the email that I forwarded from 350. That's the petition that was sent around and
Oh.
headed to,
wow,
as of yesterday.
wow, look at the name, you got over 500 names.
Yeah, and it's not. It's basically Vermont 350's, horizon. And the one I sent out that I included you on probably had, I don't know, 50 or so folks on it, including a bunch of the installers in the state of Vermont and local legislators.
So obviously they're lobbying up there against it. Sure,
Who's lobby?
he's group.
Vermont 350? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. But I don't know what Vermont is doing or what Vermont Natural Resources Council is doing or what Leesburg is doing. I don't know what they're doing, but they damn well ought to be aware. And maybe they're party to the compromise, but I don't feel we should compromise.
Still all about follow the money, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, any other new business? Lester?
We're all done.
We should ask Seth to get another name tag for Buzz.
Oh, we have one. No,
Yeah, they were. I don't know if they're,
there was one.
we
here.
used to have it.
Cool. Why isn't it?
No,
That's the select board.
it's us. I thought we did have. No? We'll add that to. If you could plan a commission. Jackets. Why not? We got some money in there.
I'm not sure that would be viewed favorably as a good use of his son's PC politically correct.
Maybe fire commission mugs.
You prefer Buzz, right?
Yeah.
For your nameplate?
I do think that every year it would be a good idea, let's say in December. To have a good group picture of the full commission,
For the,
so that the
Yeah.
the town
yeah,
before.
was my report, to the town report, all sufficient?
Yeah.
The health officer good. I covered everything. Okay, motion to adjourn.
So move.
All those in favor?
Okay.
All right, very well.
Set a record for the plant meetings here. Oh.
Night, Ron. You wanna? Email me in the morning, Ron? Email me.
Oh, that's good, or something.
I wanna look it up.
Yeah.
Whatever I do, I'll verify it, I'll do the other one.
Yeah, I don't know if you made to it, but I.
You just gotta pick one. Why don't you just provide me a little synopsis paragraph? Of
You're
the.
gonna send that over there, which, it's so interesting, do you know the place, there's the place, where did it start? Where's something actually park? You know, people, that does it on it, maybe. I mean, that's, it's a real.
Yeah, it's hard to get off the ground.
You said it, the way you said it made sense of the thought.
Yeah, herding cats.
30 cats.